Bryce here. So today I'm coming to you live to talk about how to follow up with leads without feeling pushy, desperate, or annoying the other person. So what we're going to cover inside this video today, what I prepared for you is number one, how to follow up with leads. Number two is to talk about like what is follow up, why do you actually follow up with people. I'm going to give you some code slash principles that you can utilize in your follow up sequence, just so you understand exactly what this process is. Next, talking about where we actually follow up. So like what are the different platforms we use to follow and what is the most appropriate. Next, we talk about different cycles of when to follow up, what's the frequency, how often do we do it, what type of follow up we actually use inside of there. We're going to be talking about the three things that impact follow up. So your brand, your written content, and also some different content that we're going to put in there. We're also giving you some simple follow up content templates you can utilize. There's some different ways of thinking about content to be used in your follow-up. We're going to talk about when to use that as well. So hopefully you get something out of this thing. Now, number one, why should you watch this video to the end? So follow-up is responsible for about 50 to, in some cases, 60% of your actual sales. Okay, I mean people who are going to sign up with you. I mean over half are going to tell you no at one point in your career and then come back and sign up. So if you don't master this skill, or if you don't get good at this skill set, you're literally missing out on millions of dollars per year over a 10-year period. So let's say that you would be at six figures per year. Six figures on 10 years, that's about $1 million, right? So you're missing out on a lot if you don't get understanding of this skill set. And really just now, who am I? Why should you listen to me? So currently I run a six-figure accounting and bookkeeping business, which I started in 2015. There's a typo here. This is about 306. So we've currently helped about 306 students start and grow their accounting and bookkeeping businesses. So I've learned a little bit over the years, not just from my business, but also helping other people go and get to like the six-figure level. Also, if you want some help growing your income so you can like live a life of freedom without having to go through a lot of different struggles that I've gone through or the students in our program have gone through, click the link either above or below the video to book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if we can help you inside of our mentorship. So who is this video good for? Now, this video is good for anyone offering bookkeeping, payroll, tax planning, CFO services to business owners. Now, if you're offering more of like a B2B service, like maybe for like tax for consumers, so B2C, this video can also help you, but I made it specifically for this. If you're a financial advisor, financial planner, you're watching this can also be helpful for you. But I made this video with my main niche in mind. So one thing that you can do, if like this video might be a little bit long, right? Every Wednesday we go with a little bit of a longer, more informational type of video where I'm basically telling you exactly like what are the different things that I've had to learn along the ways, and then it just allows you to be able to grow your business that much faster as well. So one thing you can do is like maybe you have a busy lifestyle. Like maybe you have children, maybe you have a long commute, maybe you don't have a lot of time because maybe you're working like 60, 70 hours a week, right? Whatever the case may be, I would really focus on like watching the videos inside of your daily schedule. So build it into your routine. So for example, let's say that you're driving on the way home. I talked to a gentleman who joined our mentorship program. He was driving an hour both ways. I'm like, wait, you should be listening to every single video I put out on that time, right? Because it's not like you're going to be doing anything else. Rather than listening to music, learn, utilize information, go and make some money with this stuff. I mean, and it's one of those things. I had this person reach out and say, "Well, you're really good at business. And I can never be as good at business as you are." And I'm like, "Well, what do you kind of think caused that?" It's not, I'm always constantly listening to videos, right? I'm listening to the courses that I purchased. Like I spent over $150,000 on course in the last 4 years. So I'm always listening. I'm always absorbing information. Then I utilize information that I've learned, or I move in like either purchase a course to help me go and like move forward in my life. So these videos are offered to you for free. So take advantage of it by listening and actually implementing them. Move forward, okay? And if you work it into your routine, it's gonna have you're gonna have it be automatic, right? It's an automatic slight edge you're gonna keep developing over time against any obstacle that might be in your way. If you just do a little bit every single day, you're gonna go and get to your goal eventually, right? And also, why do I make these videos? Like they can't be that valuable, they're free. Someone said that to me a couple weeks ago, like, well, I would go and read your book or I would go and watch your YouTube videos, but it's free. So, maybe you're holding something back. So if I'm breaking the fourth wall, I'm being honest, right? I make these videos so you can actually share them with one of your friends or family or anyone who's trying to grow like a business, like, bookkeeping or an accounting business. And by having information that's so good inside of these videos, when you share with people, they'll actually see the videos and like it, and it boosts my credibility and boosts my brand across social media. So even though I'm not charging you for this information, you're still helping me out by sharing this and commenting on these posts and supporting my mission. Okay. So also, just because maybe someone doesn't pay like today, and in the vibe of follow up and like in the theme of follow up, just because you don't buy from me today doesn't mean that you're dead to me, right? So you could still end up working with me in the future, right? I still want to make sure you feel supported and still want to make sure you're able to move forward so that maybe in the future, when like maybe your financial situation or whatever situation kind of is a little bit different, you have the opportunity to go and at least move forward, right? So we want to move forward in the meantime, always moving forward. Just a little bit, just taking the next step, moving as far as you can, right? But with that, I mean, like, why should someone join the program? Like, if I have all these free videos out there, like, why would you join the program? So number one, when you're watching free information, like the information is good, but it's subject to your existing experience level and your understanding. So you might misinterpret something that I tell you and do it incorrectly. And then, you risk really not getting results. Now, again, this risk is kind of on my part too, because you could implement something I teach you in the video, you not understand it, and then not be able to make it work, and then you like kind of like hate me forever, right? And that is kind of a risk I'm willing to take, just being honest with you. Like, so I remember one time a good example of this, and it's like I was really young. I was probably about 7, 6, 7 years old. I was at this restaurant called Red Robin's, and I was basically with my mom, right? And I had this like really messy burger. It was called like a Hawaiian burger. It had like a bunch of like onions and like barbecue sauce. It was so messy. It's literally just leaking all over the place, right? So I was like complaining. I was like, Mom, this thing is like leaking. She goes, if you just cut the burger, like it's not gonna be so messy. And I didn't really want to cut it because I was just like, no, it's this giant burger. It's my first big burger. It's like I really want to like eat the whole burger. I can do it. I have my hand. I can hold it. I'm big enough, right? But I listened to her and I cut it. It made even more of a mess, and I got so mad, right? But she didn't get a chance to tell me it's not just about cutting it, it's about keeping the other half in the wrapper. So it's going to mitigate a lot of the damage. So rather than spilling on your lap, it's going to spill inside of the wrapper, right? So it wasn't that the information was wrong. I just didn't have the reference experience to put that information to the right use, right? It's the same thing here. I can give you exactly what to do, but if you don't know how to implement it, or if you try but you don't have the subconscious skill sets needed in order to really make the business grow, you know, I recommend the best next step, which would be if you watch the video, if you've watched any video, like if you watch one video, go ahead and book a call, see if I can help you, right? And I'm gonna get you, moving forward. Okay, so let's kind of do it because you could potentially figure some of the stuff out on your own if I'm being honest with you, if you had like enough time. But if you're anything like I was when I was first getting started, like I didn't have a lot of time to waste. I didn't want to trial and error. I just wanted to get to like the fastest path to information, right? And that's why I like invested so much in these different courses, right? Plus, the longer you wait to actually correctly implement the information, like the longer it's going to take for you to actually go and grow your business. And this business is very seasonal, right? So it's like there's time of year where like interest in the service ebbs and flows. Like sometimes, like there'll be some weeks you can walk to the grocery store and get clients, but there's other weeks and other months where like maybe business owners aren't responding to you at all, right? So if you catch the wrong time, right, or if you wait and maybe you miss out on the right time, it could be anywhere from like 3 to 6 months before you get another wave and you have the opportunity to go and grow really fast. So it's like you really just end up harming yourself by prolonging the time frame and that you're in your current situation, right? So I think what I'm going to do in the future is I'm actually going to make a video that talks about like what are the peak times of year for you to know that if you get a client in this week, it means like you're doing the right things. But if you don't get a client, in a certain week, that means you're actually behind the curve because the markets tend to move in a very consistent manner. When you have the ability to kind of like read the market and know like when you should be putting your effort and when you should be like marketing and start marketing, right? Then you're going to be able to start going and moving a lot faster and it just makes a lot more certainty, right? Because business is really about certainty. It's all about certainty, right? That's why our students get such great results out of our program because it's very consistent. Everything is very consistent set of KPIs that I almost move you guys down. And that's kind of why we're selective when we're accepting people into our mentorship program, that we don't just accept everyone. We only accept people we think can actually execute on our playbook and execute our proven process so that you're able to go and make money very, very quickly. Awesome. So let's get going. So follow up. So what is follow up? So why do we do follow up? So some people in life just feel that they just aren't ready to get started with us, no matter what service it's going to be. It could be accounting, it could be IT, it could be human resource, doesn't matter, right? There's going to be people who just feel like they just aren't quite ready, right? In some cases, they might be like, I want to be 100% ready before I get started with something, right? Which, being 100% is really kind of a wrong way to think about it. if you really think about it, so for example, if you were to start a business, putting just when a client says it to you, almost like put it kind of in your shoes, what it'd be like. It'll be almost be like saying like, I can't start a bookkeeping business or I can't invest in something until I'm like 100% all in. But it's like you could never really be all in, right? If we have to be 100% all in, like at business, that means we can't spend time with our family. We can't have the time to go pursue our passion. We can never take vacations. We're always going to be having to work 100% of the business, right? What's really more realistic is like maybe between like 30 to 60% effort and 30, 60% in, right? And that way, as you grow, you'll be able to keep maintaining that success because you want to be sustainable, right? If it doesn't take a lot of effort and you're able to work it into your routine, you're able to keep it going. But if you have to stop every single thing in your life in order to like get started or do something, it's not going to work, right? But that's why you have to follow up some people because they just don't really understand that. And if you don't know how to get people like really change their beliefs while you're in front of them, you might have to do some follow up, right? So by following up, we're allowing people to come into their own conclusion that they are better off receiving our helps, especially when it comes to accounting and bookkeeping. Now, how did I learn follow up? So I learned follow up because I've booked well over 20, it's getting close to 2,200 consultation calls across multiple businesses in the past 4 years alone, right? And using all the methods we're going to be talking about inside this video today. So let's go and jump in even further. So some codes to remember, okay? There are two main principles you have to remember when it comes to following up. Number one is 7-Eleven. Number two is 48. So following up before the consultation call. So there's different phases of follow-up, right? There's follow-up before the consultation. There's follow-up if maybe like the person doesn't show up to the consultation. There's follow-up once you've done the consultation. Then there's long-term follow-up where maybe they don't buy, right? So we're going to go in order of that. So we're going to talk about before the consultation call. So and on average, it takes between about 7 to 11 touches for someone to fully understand that you exist and pay enough attention to see what you do. Now, if you're wondering also what this is a massage. It's called like a scraper. I'm actually in the massage room. My significant other is a massage therapist. So I have a lot of these different like tools and stuff that I'm inside this room. But yeah, just in case I was distracting you, I know I'm playing around with this. Not brass knuckles, it's a scraper thing. But okay, so number one, you need to be consistently showing up in order for people of substance to notice your existence and want to take action. So where do we actually follow up, right? So where are we doing these 7 to 11 touches? Number one is Messenger, phone, and Messenger, email, and then the phone is optional. So we're going to talk mainly about like Messenger and phone because that's what most people are like familiar with watching this. So inside of Messenger, so we like to utilize inboxes. So the opportunity is that most people don't actually know how to have a conversation. Your competition is just going in there and spamming everyone, like directly pitching their service. Like they immediately like do a friend request or a connection request on LinkedIn. They say, "Hey, buy my stuff." Right? And that style of outreach really works for bottom of the barrel clients who are going to buy based on price, right? So they're looking for the lowest price. But if you want the best quality business owners, you need to learn how to communicate and build a relationship. Okay, think about it. I mean, the higher your value, the more you want to pre-vet people that you're potentially doing business with, right? So it's almost like by just knowing how to communicate the way I'm about to show you, it makes it very easy to stand out over and over and over again, right? And at the simplest form of follow-up, we're going to a 15-day sequence style of communication. So basically, each time someone interacts with your brand, they should move closer to you. Now, if you don't know what a brand means, there are 3 elements to a brand, or 4 elements to a brand that I'm going to talk about. It's really 3 and then like a fourth, like a subset. So number 1 is going to be you. Number 2 is your written content. Number 3 is video content. Number 4 is your trust assets. Okay. So inside of this fall, we have to make sure that every time that someone interacts with one of those 4 things, they're going to move closer to actually working with us. If someone interacts with you and moves further away, that branding is not doing well. It has to move closer to you, so it reduces the amount of time you have to actually spend following up with people. So number 1, the brand item is going to be you. Okay. So specifically in this case, we'll say on your consultation call. So you have to know, are you doing a 1 call close or a multi-call process? So in the beginning, you should become proficient in closing deals on the first call, especially if you use what we teach in our book about getting referrals that are very hot and are ready to get started with you. So one thing that can make everything work even better is by having influential partners. So The reason why is because when you have influential partners, they get them to like recommend their friends to you, and they just actually want to work with you, right? So if you do like too many calls, it can kind of like cause a person to cool down temperature wise. So you want to get them when they're hot, especially if they've been referred to you, right? Just seal the deal as much as possible. Now, if you don't know what I mean when I say like influential partners, I actually published a book that walks you through how to get your first or next six-figure partnership. Now, basically, they're like individuals in the local area and online who already have relationships with their ideal clients. And when you can tap into these relationships, it makes growing your business way more efficient. Now, I'm going to be putting the book on Amazon in the next couple of weeks, and I'm planning for the price to be about $21.99. Now, I actually have a special price as a way of saying thank you for supporting my content. And I value your continued support. So I want to say thank you by putting the book up at a special price of $4.99 on my website. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put this link just inside the comment section, just in case. It's also in the description of the video. If you can't find this link or for whatever reason, go ahead and comment hashtag 6FP and I'll actually send it to you. So this is what I'm looking. This is the link. If you don't want to click the chat, go ahead and type into the URL bar, whatever the case would be. It's like $4.99. I made it so like at this kind of price, there's not a lot of people that can't afford $5 books. So you can substitute out a cup of coffee with the price for this book. So it actually, the leads that come from social media, I actually like doing I like doing a 2-call close process or a multi-call process. Now the cons of this is that your sales cycle is going to be longer, but you will make more money. Now a sales cycle is just simply the time frame from the first time someone interacts with you to the sale. Okay, and each person can have multiple sales cycles within the same like prospect, right? Because they could buy first, they could do a cleanup, then they might need to do bookkeeping, then they might want to add on payroll, then they might want you to do like their tax prep, then they might want you to do tax planning, right? So every one has a different, like from the time they hear about this service to the time they buy. So they can have multiple ones within it. We're just gonna focus on like the first sales cycle, just the first sale for this, just to keep it very simple. Okay, so number one, like you need to know exactly what is the different thing. So most B2B business to business companies, B2B stands for business to business, have a 6 to 12-month sales cycle. That means from the time that the person hears about the brand to when they pay can be 6 months to 12 months. That's a long time. Now, one pro tip is while you're doing like this business, right? If you're doing a consultation call, keep your price high. Do not just like try and lower your price just to try and get the client. Because if they say no, right, they could actually come back 6 months from now. Oftentimes, the scope of work is going to improve, right? Because if their business keeps growing and now they realize they have a need, they're going to come back to you. And if you have a lower price, like let's say that originally was supposed to be worth like $500, but you try to give them a discount for $300, when they come back 6 months from now with like $1,000 a month worth of work, and they're going to try and hold you that $300 price point. Now, there are ways to get them to kind of budge off of this, but just in case you don't have those advanced sales skills, make sure you price what you're supposed to. Do not give people a deal unless it's a deal that's like kind of tied to time. So if they want to get started with an XYZ amount of time, then you give them the discount, right? But you don't want to lower that price. You want to hold that, okay? Now, for bookkeeping and tax planning cycles, it's actually way shorter than the average B2B companies. For example, our students in our program have between 15 to 90-day sales cycles on average. Now, the second thing that we're going to focus on is written content. Now, each piece of content should break a belief and form a new one. So here's actually a simple follow-up content formula. Generally, when I'm making written posts on social media, I used to spend anywhere between like 1 to 2 hours a week making these written posts, and they make me a really good amount of money. But nowadays I've become like way smarter, right? And I've learned how to utilize AI and virtual assistants to be able to write content on my behalf and with me, right? So I can just the only reason I'm talking about content in this is for follow-up purposes. Now, if you do not have any leads in your pipeline, a pipeline just means your social media content, your CRM, whatever. If you have no business owners, content is not necessarily the best next step for you. But I'm assuming that if you're watching this video to this point, eventually you're going to have some people that are following you that you're going to actually have to follow up with, right? So it's better to know this information now, so when you do have the lead, you can actually take advantage of it, right? And another reason why content is so important is because it actually protects you from having a client go to a competitor. So sometimes what happens is like if you tell someone a price and they say, oh, well, I'm just going to go shop around, right? In some cases they'll come back, in some cases you lost them. A way to hedge against losing them is by is by making content. It's almost like imagine that every single time that a prospect comes to your consultation call, it's like they're entering this castle, right? Now, around the castle, there's a moat that's going to protect your castle from your enemies. Now, content is the water inside of the moat, right? A moat just means like the water barrier around it. The more content you have, the deeper and like the wider the moat's going to be, and the harder it is for them to go. Because every single time they do a consultation call, they're going to compare that new person's service with your service and all the stuff you taught them inside of your content, right? So it just makes it very easy. So let's make some content. Okay. So number one, phase one, note something that happened to you during your day. So for me, for example, I'm actually going to go dancing later on tonight at a hotel. I've never been to this hotel. And a lot of people from my local dance community are going to actually go there and meet up. So I'm very, very excited for it, right? So I would actually put that in the post. I can even make a post about me getting locked out the house yesterday. I don't want to talk about that. I got locked out. I got locked out and I locked my keys inside that. So my key, my house key and my house key and my car keys are locked and were locked inside the house. And my remote start does not work to unlock the car from my phone app unless I have the key like close by the phone. So it has to be like close. So even though I was outside, I couldn't open the garage because the garage door opener was in the car locked. I was like standing outside for at least like 20 minutes. Blessedly for me, we have like different means of getting inside, but I was out there for a good like 12 minutes while I was trying to go and get the spare stuff, right? And it's just like I know long tangent, but this is what content's all about. It's like connecting people and like just sharing what's going on in your life, right? So that's phase one. What is the thing that's like really important to you? The next thing is going to be about you want to have a moral of the story or belief that you're trying to break or instill inside of the person. For example, your belief could be that you're trying to have someone understand they need a bookkeeper instead of just doing things themselves. Okay. And then finally, you need to have a call to action. So I like telling the AI software, like, what am I selling? So if I'm selling a book, right, it's going to write a different call to action. If I'm selling like bookkeeping service, it's going to do a different one. Versus if I'm trying to sell mentorship service, it's going to have a different call to action. And it just when you have these three things, the reason I'm giving these three phases because you have to go and put it inside of like a thing like a chat GPT, put in those three things, and actually will spit out a post for you. Now, the challenge with content, number one, I mean, it is easy. This process will take you like 10, 15 minutes, right? But that's, of course, assuming you understand how to identify if your piece of content is going to be effective, right? Now, if you need help with that, we do talk about that inside of our mentorship program, right? So I can just look at it and tell you this is either good or it's pretty bad. I mean, I've been, writing multiple pieces of content every single day for the last like 5 years. So I think we know a thing or two about like content. Made a lot of money from written posts. Okay. Next is going to be your video content. I'm not going to go into video content in depth for this video. Since it's actually a very, very complex topic. I also know a lot of people watching this might not want to be on video. So I'm not going to go into too much to kind of save time on this video. If you're inside of our program and you're interested in learning how to make video content, just send me a message or a question about video, or if you're inside the program and you're like, watch this video on my YouTube channel. Next is 15-day communication cycle continued. So I like to think about like follow up like a boxing match. Now there are multiple rounds that you communicated. So in round number one, it's all about relationship. Now this commanding thing. Okay, there's a lot of typos in here. I understand. The reason why is because I was voice typing this thing, and it took me like I think 2 hours to kind of voice type this. So I didn't go back through and proofread it. I just want to get it out here. Um, how their day is going. Yes, yes, yes. So number one is going to be some sort of relationship building thing, right? So how's their day going? What's new in their life? How is their children doing? Do they have any vacations going on? Do they have any personal milestones they've received? Do they get any rewards? Have they recently been in the newspaper, right? Be creative. At this step, now in this video, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to say because I want to make sure that number one, I give you a couple lines. If I give you too many lines, of exactly what to say. As soon as you run out, you're going to be dependent on me and not to keep giving you more and more and more and more, right? Now, in our program, we will give you lines. We show you how to build on the lines. But if you're just watching this video, I want to teach you how to think so you actually know how to think, okay? So it's just thinking about their life. The first 15 days is just, let's say that you do your consultation call. 15 days later, it's just talking about life and getting some sort of update, okay? Now, of course, with this, there are degrees of effectiveness, right? So the more effective you are at doing this, the faster the sale will close. I'm assuming that, maybe you're not super effective, so it might take a little bit longer, okay? That's okay. Now, the second round, the second 15 days is going to be when you talk about moving the sale forward, right? So it's going to be anything about like, hey, you get a chance to look at the invoice. Hey, the invoice didn't come back through. What are some things or some questions you might have that do you want to schedule a call? Do you want to do a follow-up call? Just checking in. It could be something that, inside the mail. It's a million different things you can do to kind of follow, but you need to make sure on that second interaction, you are moving forward. One thing you can do inside of your communication cycle is you can actually have a newsletter that goes out like on a monthly newsletter. Inside this newsletter, it mixes the written content that we kind of talked about before with more of like a CTA to get people to move forward. So you can personally, I personally like that option, if I'm being honest with you. The reason why is because I actually learned this from a local financial advisor. So I was working with them, right? And they just started sending me like these newsletters in the mail. I thought it was super, super interesting, right? Because you can send them both as an email and you can also send them like in snail mail. And if you really wanted to, inside of our program, like we teach you guys how to make these monthly newsletters, and we teach you how to use like AI plus Canva. So it actually takes like 5 minutes per month. So AI basically tells you how to write, kind of like we talked about earlier. But then also the Canva is just you just copy and paste what the AI wrote inside the newsletter, and it just works. It works very, very well. Um, and again, it only takes like 5 minutes a month. So it's just something super simple to follow up with, but it's super effective because you're just in their face. It's not like you're overtly selling something. It's just, hey, I'm just here. I'm here. And at the end, it has like a call to action. And that call to action moves it forward or asks a question or gets someone to send you a call. It's very, 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 very subliminal, but it's really cool. Okay. I'm gonna end this video here. I know it's getting a little bit long. So how long have we been live for? About 26 minutes just straight. I know I didn't really announce this as a live video. I just want to like get it out as fast as possible. Also, if you want some help, like maybe you've been thinking about this stuff and you're like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that maybe I don't know, or maybe you're thinking about starting your business, but you just want to avoid a lot of mistakes that cause most people to fail. If you want help and if you want to see if we can help inside of our program, go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. Book a call, see if we can help you out. In some cases, we can't help you out, but if we can't, we're going to at least point you in the right direction so you know what you need to do on your end in order to either be in a better position or start making some traction. Some people end up like waiting to do this, right? They end up like running out of steam and they end up living in the same spot for years. I talked to this one gentleman last week, and I actually spoke to him about a year and a half, and I think it's like 2 years ago, right? And like he's still in the same situation, but it's, some people it's just not quite ready. That's okay. It's just if you're serious about reaching your goal, start taking some steps to do it. The first step is to do the call. Also, if money's tight, like we do have different payment partners that can help get you funded so that you can at least get your foot in the door and start the program, then be off to the races. Okay. So if you can make it, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, I'll see you inside the next video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.